or something. They're sitting up here rapping, but that's y'all homeboy. Just do what y'all got.
Andrews' phone of her communications with ATK Keese and direct messaging and the Instagram.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there screenshots of those communications between this defendant and ATK Keese in that device?
Yes, ma'am.
Aware that Aaliyah was with Charles Jones when he was shot and killed?
Yeah.
All right. And that was despite the fact that Aaliyah dated someone that Charles Jones rapped about killing.
Okay.
You aware of that?
Yeah.
All right.
Alicia Andrews was accused of helping the crew that targeted Foolio, and she ended up facing trial before any of the alleged shooters even stepped into a courtroom. She walked in laughing, fixing her makeup like it was just another day, but no one in that room had a clue how wild this whole situation was about to get. Prosecutors opened by laying out the shocking details behind the attack on Julio, explaining how the shooter tracked him on his birthday and rolled up with rifles and a modified Glock that fired non-stop. With a setup like that, there was almost no chance for him to escape alive. Even though Alicia Andrews wasn't the one pulling the trigger, she still got hit with a murder charge because investigators said she helped organize the setup. And the whole thing became even more chaotic when it came out that Alicia was pregnant during all of this, later giving birth while locked up in jail. According to the case, Alicia and her boyfriend, Isaiah Chance, were trailing Foolio around Tampa, sending updates so the shooters knew every move he made. Alicia and Isaiah were the ones who spotted Theo sitting in his car outside a hotel, and just seconds later the shooters pulled up and opened fire. They let off so many rounds that when you see what Foolio's car looked like afterward, it's clear there was no real chance for him to survive once that ambush hit. Foolio was chilling in the passenger seat with his feet propped up on the dash when everything exploded in seconds. Shots started ripping through the car, and he tried scrambling into the back seat. But a 5.56 round hit him straight in the chest and tore through his heart. He was still trying to crawl away when two more bullets struck his back, and one of them pierced his liver. The whole ambush was messy, but investigators said the crew had been planning it for a minute, and Alicia Andrews was the one who helped lock down the Airbnb in Tampa. One of the alleged shooters, Sean Gathright, got exposed after cops pulled security footage from his own house showing him and Isaiah Chance loading huge bags into their cars before driving out to Tampa that night. They didn't hide anything well either, because cameras, license plate readers, and cell tower pings caught the whole crew traveling from Jacksonville to Tampa. Alicia was even picked up on camera at a McDonald's in Tampa just hours before Foolio was killed. When Alicia's lawyer stepped up, he tried to paint her as totally clueless, claiming she didn't know any of the other people involved and was just on a simple weekend trip with her boyfriend, Isaiah. But from the start, it was obvious the story wasn't lining up, and nobody expected how wild this trial was about to get or how hard the prosecution was about to press her. The state brought out their first witness, a woman who happened to be at the hotel the night Foolio was killed. She had been hanging with Julio's crew earlier, then stepped inside the hotel to use the bathroom, which is the only reason she didn't get caught in the gunfire. What made her testimony even more shocking is her past. She used to date one of Youngin Ace's brothers, T. Trayvon. Years ago, T. Trayvon tragically lost his life right in front of Ace, and later on, this same witness ended up spending time around Julio's side of things. Then one of Alicia's closest friends stepped onto the stand, and that's when the trial started spinning in a direction Alicia did not want. Prosecutors pulled out old text messages Alicia sent back in 2021 where she was telling her friend that 1,200 and AK needed to be sliding and killing more of their ops. Those texts hit the courtroom like a bomb. Alicia's defense tried to paint her as someone who didn't know anything about the street beef, but her own people ended up exposing the truth and showing that story wasn't real at all. Another message from 2021 came up where Alicia said she couldn't stand Leo and said she felt like he needed to die. That text made the whole room shift. One of Alicia's close homies had just been killed in the beef between AK, 1,200, and 6 Block, and Alicia was clearly keeping up with everything happening out there. The shooters spent a lot of time trying to find a way to catch Foolio slipping, but the wildest part was how careless they were during the whole plan. One of the alleged shooters tried running from police and got tased, and once cops got into their phones, it got even worse. They found out one of the shooters had been texting his friends pictures of the burner phone he bought just for the hit. He even sent photos of the guns they planned to use, and nobody deleted anything after the situation went down. Prosecutors wanted to show that this wasn't some random moment. The attack was organized, so they brought in a gang detective who laid out the entire beef involving Foolio, 6-block AK, and 1200. Alicia wasn't out here making diss tracks, but investigators proved she knew everyone involved and understood exactly what was happening in the conflict. They also showed how AK and 1200 had already tried to go after Foolio more than once. Sean Gathright, one of the alleged shooters in Tampa, had also shot Foolio in the foot the year before. And AK caught Foolio slipping in Houston another time and almost hit him in the head. Then the state brought up lyrics from Fast Money Goon's track, Who I Smoke, where he rapped, "I was lurking on his page and I caught him lacking in Houston. We let off shots, he got shot and went live. I was tweaking like F a man that BA ain't died." The profanity has been masked for safety while keeping the quote accurate. Those bars connected directly to the earlier attacks, and hearing them in the courtroom made the entire situation even more explosive. Then the prosecutor pulled up Foolio's music videos, showing how he had been dissing AK and 1200's fallen members with lines like, "Went out to eat on his birthday, folks shot 3 dead in the worst way," and "He kept dissing on me, now he's smoking 23. The courtroom got tense fast. Prosecutors also used Youngin Ace's lyrics from the track Game Over to argue that AK and 1200 were the ones responsible for taking Foolio out. The song dropped right after Foolio died, and Ace rapped, "Once 23 died, inside my eyes I lost my mind. Karma, do it all I know. Get back, do it time. 5.56 increased the murder rate. Another body on the way. Mask on, get up close. This is another closed case. Don Julio, shots to the face. 5 in the morning I got a call. What is this? Dead on the floor. Dead on arrival, Mr. 6. Hearing those lyrics in the courtroom hit hard, and the prosecutors used them to keep building their case. Alicia's defense kept arguing that even if she knew some of the people involved, it didn't automatically make her guilty, but she was all over security cameras following Foolio around the night he was killed. Her team tried to claim she didn't understand what her boyfriend and his people were up to, but investigators found out she had been DMing other AK members on Instagram. She was even tapped in with Julio's old associate, K Shorty too, which made it clear she understood exactly how active things were out there. By that point, it was looking like Alicia was in serious trouble, so her defense team tried switching their whole approach and attempted to deflect onto another woman. One of the witnesses at the hotel the night Julio was killed was a woman named Aaliyah, the same Aaliyah who had once dated Youngin Ace's brother Trevon back in the day. Alicia's lawyers asked a detective if they had investigated Aaliyah, trying to say she had a motive too, but that move fell flat fast, and the next batch of evidence against Alicia made the situation even worse. After police searched her phone, they found photos taken outside one of the clubs Foolio went to the night he was killed. That put her right in the middle of everything. Sean Gathwright's phone had heavy evidence too. Rashad Murphy, one of the alleged shooters, used Gathwright's phone after the attack and sent a message saying, "I'm coming home. My thirst is quenched. I love you, Murphy." That message shook the whole courtroom because it connected straight to the aftermath of the hit. By the time all of this came out, Alicia Andrews and the entire crew were getting hit with evidence from every direction, and the trial was turning into a disaster for all of them. Even with all the evidence stacking up, Alicia kept sitting in court smiling and laughing while detectives explained how she allegedly helped set everything in motion. According to investigators, Alicia was riding around Tampa with Isaiah Chance, trailing Foolio's every move and sending her live location straight to the car full of shooters so they knew exactly where to slide in. Just minutes before the shooters pulled up to the hotel, Alicia sent out that live location again, and that's how they caught Leo slipping. At the same time, Sean Gathright was also trying to set things up through another woman that night. He was trying to figure out where Foolio's Airbnb was, asking a woman he knew to help him get the address, and those texts made it clear the crew was actively hunting for Foolio. In court, they even played Alicia's very first interview with detectives, and when they showed her proof she was at the hotel the night Julio was killed, she just tried to laugh it off like nothing was serious. But detectives laid everything out: phone records, videos of her tracking Leo around the city, and details about Isaiah Chance's issues with Leo and 6 Block. Even with all that in her face, Alicia kept saying she didn't know anything, which made it seem like she was trying to protect Isaiah because they were together at the time. What made it even wilder is that Alicia was pregnant with Isaiah's child during the whole situation, traveling around while all of this was going down. Detectives told Alicia straight up that Isaiah was only using her and didn't care about the danger she was walking into. One detective even warned her that if she didn't start cooperating, she could end up facing a life sentence. But Alicia still refused to give up any information on Isaiah or anyone else involved, holding on to her story even as the case tightened around her. After Alicia refused to talk, the courtroom energy shifted, and the prosecutors brought in the final set of evidence that pushed the whole room into total shock. Detectives had pulled data from a traffic camera near the hotel, and the footage showed Alicia's car circling the block multiple times right before the shooters arrived. It looked like she was making sure Foolio was still in position before the crew slid in. Then the state called a digital forensics expert who broke down the exact timestamps from Alicia's phone, Isaiah's phone, and the shooter's burner phones. Every time Alicia sent out a location or text, one of the shooter's phones pinged just seconds later, proving they were moving together, even if they weren't in the same car. The timeline lined up so perfectly that the jurors were staring at the screen with their mouths open. The prosecutors also played audio clips from jail calls made by some of the men involved. And even though the callers weren't directly admitting anything, the way they were talking had the courtroom buzzing. One caller said, "Shorty did her part," and another said, "They ain't even know we was watching him all day," which the state used as proof that Alicia was part of the setup. Alicia's lawyer tried to push back and said the jail calls could have been about anything, but by that point the judge looked tired of the excuses. The prosecutors ended the day by showing the jury a map of Alicia's movements, the shooter's routes, and Foolio's last locations. And everything lined up so tight that it looked like a blueprint. When court wrapped up for the day, Alicia stood up still smiling, but the rest of the courtroom was quiet, like everyone knew the verdict was already creeping up on her. The next morning, the courtroom filled up fast because everyone knew the case was getting close to the breaking point. The prosecutors came in loaded and started the day by calling one of the detectives who handled the surveillance footage, and he dropped another twist nobody saw coming. He revealed that Alicia wasn't just following Foolio around. She had also been searching up his name, his hotel, and his social media in the hours leading up to the hit, which made the whole situation look even more planned out. Then the state brought up a new set of screenshots from Alicia's phone showing group chats where she asked Isaiah Chance if everything was set for later, and Isaiah replied with a thumbs-up emoji. The prosecutors said this was their way of communicating without saying anything out loud, and the jury was locked in. Some people in the gallery even gasped when the messages popped up on the screen. A tech expert took the stand next and broke down how Alicia's phone had been deleting certain messages right after she sent her location out, which made it look like she knew someone might check her phone later. The expert explained how the data recovery still brought those texts back, and when the jury heard that, a few of them were staring directly at Alicia like the case was already sealed. Alicia's defense tried arguing that she only searched Foolio's info because she was curious, and the deleted messages were just regular phone cleanup. But the prosecutors weren't letting that fly. They fired back by showing clips of Alicia and Isaiah driving behind Foolio's car earlier in the night, caught on multiple street cameras across Tampa. The tension got so thick the judge had to pause twice because the courtroom was getting too loud. And even though Alicia kept that same smirk on her face, the energy in the room made it feel like she knew things were slipping out of her hands fast. Alicia spent that whole police interview trying to talk her way out of everything, even when detectives already had proof stacked up against her. But once she hit the stand in the courtroom, all those stories fell apart, and she ended up switching her tone about Isaiah Chance, claiming he put hands on her. The jury even saw photos of Alicia with bruises on her face from when Isaiah hurt her, and she told the court he used her phone the night Foolio was killed because she was scared to say no. Isaiah definitely treated her wrong, but the court made it clear that this was a separate issue from what went down the night Foolio lost his life. And even with everything she said on the stand, it was still clear that Alicia knew exactly why she took that trip to Tampa in the first place. Alicia was staring at a possible life sentence if she got hit with the murder charge, but she managed to catch a major break. Instead of getting convicted for murder, the jury found her guilty of manslaughter and not guilty of conspiracy to commit murder. That decision saved her from spending the rest of her life behind bars, but she still might end up doing a long stretch. Even though Alicia avoided the harshest charge, she could still see decades in prison depending on what the judge decides during sentencing. Julio's mom told reporters she was preparing an impact statement for the judge and wants Alicia to get 15 years plus 10. 15 is already the max for manslaughter in Florida, but the judge has the power to stack extra time on top of that if they feel it's needed. And Julio's mom made it clear she wants Alicia to get every year possible. Alicia might have slipped away from a life sentence, but things are looking way tougher for Isaiah Chance and the alleged shooters connected to the case. Their trials are scheduled for 2026, and nobody knows what kind of evidence the prosecutors are holding for them. The state already showed how deep they're willing to dig, so those courtrooms could get even wilder than Alicia's. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and tap in for the next one.